Hello, I'm John Cunningham. Welcome to the RedChip Money Report. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with executives of 3 public companies. First, Piedmont Lithium, stock symbol PLL on the NASDAQ. Piedmont is developing a world-class domestic lithium project outside Charlotte, North Carolina. It's an area that was historically provided most of the Western world's lithium between the 1950s and the 1980s. Demand for lithium is expected to soar as the electric vehicle market expands in the coming years. Later, you'll learn from the CEO why Piedmont is positioned to win big in this exciting market. Our second company featured today is RedCat Holdings, stock symbol RCAT on the OTC. RedCat is a leading provider of blockchain-based data storage, analytics, and services for the commercial and consumer drone industries. In today's interview with the CEO, you will learn about their recently announced acquisition of Rotor Riot and the company's plans to scale revenue in the quarters ahead. The final company featured today will be MySize, stock symbol MYSZ on the NASDAQ and also on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. MySize is a developer of a unique sensor-based measurement technology and the owner of several patented algorithms that capture and calculate a person's measurements in different ways. Later in the show, you will meet the CEO and learn about their technology and plans for growth. Now, before we get to our first interview, our quote of the week. It comes from the book Small Stocks, Big Money. If you want to invest in the microcap space, buy companies, not stocks. You buy stocks, the daily fluctuations and lack of liquidity will drive you crazy. This quote comes from Byron Roth, featured in Chapter 7 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy today at RedChip.com or on Amazon. Now let's get to our first company interview today with Piedmont Lithium, stock symbol PLL on the NASDAQ.
Hi, Keith. Thanks for being with us today.
Craig, thanks for having me.
Keith, let's start with a brief overview of Piedmont Lithium and your lithium project in North Carolina.
Sure. So Piedmont is a public company. We're listed on NASDAQ. The ticker is PLL. We're also listed in Australia on the Australian exchange, also ticker PLL. Market cap's about $65 million. We're developing a large lithium hydroxide project in North Carolina, about 30 miles west of Charlotte, in what we call the cradle of the lithium industry. So all the lithium in the world came from this region, 30 miles west of Charlotte, in the 1950s to the 1980s. There's a prolific mineral belt there called the Carolina Tin Spodumene Belt. We are developing a very large project in that belt, and the location is really ideal. We're surrounded by really first world infrastructure, obviously, a built-in first-class labor force, low-cost power of all descriptions, a great transportation infrastructure, and we're within a half a day's drive of most of the big automotive plants in the United States. So it's an ideal place to be producing lithium for the U.S. electric vehicle business that's growing as we speak.
Now, Keith, what's the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in Piedmont Lithium today?
Really, I think 3 reasons. One, electrification of vehicles is happening. It's a mega trend. There's a lot of ways to play that. You can buy Tesla stock, or you can buy stock in a battery company or someone else in the supply chain. We think actually the most important value opportunity is really to look at the raw material suppliers, people like lithium producers. Lithium is the irreplaceable element in a battery. Battery demand is booming because of the movement to electric vehicles, and we're ideally positioned for that. We're a unique American project. We'll be a very low-cost producer in a very strategic location.
You guys hit a lot of milestones in 2019. Can you recap some of the key accomplishments of the past year?
Sure. We're a young company. The company was founded in 2016. The initial land packages were put together. And over the course of the first 2 or 3 years, it was obvious we had something. The real objective in 2019 was to demonstrate how big the project could be. So we did a lot of drilling. We had established a maiden resource in 2018. We did a lot of drilling in the first half of 2019 and have now established a very large resource, world-class, 28 million tons at 1.1% Li2O. That's the grade. And we took that bigger resource and updated the scoping study, which is really the economics surrounding our project. And we confirmed it will be a very low cost producer. Based on our numbers, we'd be the lowest cost producer in the world of lithium hydroxide. And the NPV of the project was confirmed at over $1.4 billion at the scoping level. The other big accomplishment is late in the year, in late November, we received our Section 404 permit. That's the only federal permit we require for our mining operations. Huge milestone for any resource company in the U.S. We were very pleased to receive that. We have the only project in the U.S. that's permitted on that basis.
Keith, now how big is the market opportunity? And what type of competitive advantages does Piedmont have?
So the market's enormous. I mean, two of the biggest industries in the world are the automotive business and the oil business. They're all being disrupted meaningfully by electrification, by Tesla, by many others around the world. All the major OEMs are getting into this business. So from a raw materials perspective, to produce a battery, the irreplaceable element, that's a term that was coined by Volkswagen, who's moving full bore into electrification. The opportunity is just massive. I mean, the automotive business is a multi-trillion-dollar business. We're currently at 2% EV penetration globally. That number is growing dramatically each year. We were at 1% 2.5 years ago. Many people think we'll be at 10% by 2025. And I'm a Tesla driver. I would say we're all going to be going electric in the next 15, 20 years. These cars are smoother, quieter, faster. They're far less expensive to operate. They're going to become far less expensive to buy as battery costs continue to fall. So the opportunity is vast. It truly is a mega trend.
What milestones can investors expect in 2020?
This is another big year. A year from now, we hope to be essentially beginning construction. So along the way in February, we'll announce some important metallurgical test work results. This is important to prove that we can produce battery quality lithium hydroxide. Hydroxide is the form of lithium that is used in Tesla batteries, et cetera, and others. There's no reason to believe we won't be able to do that, but it's an important process to go through. So we're going through that test work now. We'll have results at the end of February. We should also announce a pre-feasibility study for our chemical plant by the end of April. That'll really cement the economics around that. Sometime in the middle of the year, we hope to have put in place 2 or more important offtake agreements with potential customers. They could be car companies, could be battery companies, could be cathode manufacturers. We're in touch with a number of participants in the industry around the world. Everyone's interested in U.S. supply, so we expect to be able to receive that. And then we hope to close the year with a full definitive feasibility study for the entire project, basically a bankable feasibility study by December. So it's a big year, and we'll be ready to finance and build the project by the end of that.
To recap, Keith, what's the main takeaway for investors?
I guess the main takeaways are, number one, electrification in the car business is a mega trend. It's happening. People should be focused on it. I think the best way to play it is to look at raw material producers and potential suppliers. We have the only conventional American lithium project. Lithium is crucial to this whole mega trend. We'll be a very low-cost producer. Most of the lithium in the world comes from remote regions in the Andes or in Western Australia, over 90% from those 2 regions. 2/3 of the lithium in the world is processed in China. That's fine, but again, people are looking for non-Chinese sources of supply. We're located in an ideal place, 30 miles west of Charlotte, within an easy half a day's drive of over a dozen automotive assembly plants, all of which will go electric, in my view, over time. So and the stock is cheap. I mean, I think our stock is undervalued relative to competitors in other parts of the world. And lithium had a difficult 2018 and 2019 as a new supply came online. That's a temporary blip, I believe, but equities have really been discounting that news, and I think there's a really strong bull market coming.
Sounds compelling, Keith. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Now, to get more information about Piedmont Lithium, visit pllinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free. You can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. Now, let's go to our second company interview featured today. It's with Red Cat Holdings, stock symbol RCAT on the OTC.
Jeff, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. The Red Cat provides blockchain-based solutions for the drone industry. You also recently announced an acquisition of a company that makes high-performance drone parts. Talk to us about your products and services.
Yeah, sure. So let me just go high level with the acquisition of Rotor Riot, is they build high performance drone parts for the racing and freestyle drone pilots. What RedCat's software platform does is we basically replicate what a black box does for a traditional airplane, which we can give you a detailed replay of every drone flight that you do as a commercial operator. The reason that's important now is that we're starting to get a lot of drone airlines, Google, Uber, UPS are all becoming drone airlines, which means we start have to play by their rules. So we can actually not just tell you why your drone might have crashed like a traditional black box does, but with our analytics platform, we can actually tell you why your drone can fly better, why you can get better battery life, and a lot of different things that you can do with the analytics platform.
What's the essential value proposition for investors? Why should they take an interest in your stock, your company today?
I'll be very frank, okay, we're about to launch our SaaS platform. SaaS multiples, they are very high. If we get to $5 to $10 million in revenue very quickly, you're going to be there before we got to that $5 to $10 million in revenue with a high multiple.
And given your low market cap today, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How big is the market opportunity for your products and services?
That's a great question because a lot of people don't understand what the existing market is in the air, for airplanes and commercial airlines. There's 39,000 commercial aircraft in the fleet today in the United States. They're expecting to have more than 1 million drones as aircraft in the US. So the drone fleet is going to be a huge multiple bigger than the existing commercial airlines.
I want to talk more about the business model, the software platform, how you make money, and a little more about the business model for the high-performance parts.
They're going to work good together, but I'll go through the software side first. And the software side, it's very similar to any other SaaS storage model, like a Dropbox, but we actually do drones. It's a monthly recurring revenue business model. But what we do is each drone in your fleet pays for storage every month. And we log all of your files. We keep you compliant with the FAA. We can also give you the information for your insurance company, which can lower your insurance by having this capability to replay every flight on your drone. Now, the Rotor Riot side is...
Let's back up a minute. What are your margins on the software business?
They're great margins like every other. We're right aligned with almost every other company that's out there in the cloud storage space. They're between 80 and 85%. The Rotor Riot side is they're a pretty well-known brand in the drone space. They're a media platform that uses their media to promote their store, rotorriot.com, and they sell high-performance drone parts on that site.
Okay, and who's buying these parts?
So these guys are race pilots, which is racing's becoming a big thing now for the drone world, and freestyle pilots, which recreational users that like to do high-performance drone flying. They're not just cruising around, taking pictures. These guys are doing flips. They're doing all sorts of crazy aerobatics as a recreational use.
And they have a YouTube channel, I believe, with 174,000 subscribers. Is that correct?
They do. They and growing pretty rapidly right now. They're, like I said, they're one of the best brands in the drone space, and their YouTube channel is where everyone goes to see their flying.
I want to talk about your background. You've been CEO of NASDAQ companies. You've raised a lot of money in the past for public companies. Talk to us about your background.
Yeah, my last company, I was a public company CEO for 10 years on the NASDAQ. We did 6 acquisitions, and during those acquisitions, we raised about $180 million from the market. Before that, I had another telecom company that I sold to a public company before that. So this is my 3rd time around.
Impressive. What milestones can investors expect in 2020?
Yeah, well, we're going to have one really quick. We're about to close on the Rotor Riot deal that we announced last week. So that will happen pretty rapidly. And what's unique about this is we're going to be using our analytics platform to do customer service for their customers. We're going to use those first couple of months of integration to harden our software, and the launch of our SaaS program is going to be in a couple of months.
To recap, what's the main takeaway for investors, Jeff?
You're getting in at a great time. We're about to do a lot of great things in the short term. We have some opportunities to do other acquisitions in the future, and we're going to use our expertise in the past and grow this company very rapidly.
Jeff, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks
Great
for having
story.
me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Now, to get more information about Red Cat Holdings, visit rcatinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free. You can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. Now let's go to our last interview today. It's with MySize, stock symbol MYSZ. They're duly listed on the NASDAQ and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange.
Hi, Ronan. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Let's start the interview with your giving us a brief overview of your patented measurement technology.
I've started MySize back in 2014, and the vision behind the company was to change the way people buying clothes online. Today, as a consumers, we suffer from a sizing issue. When we go online and we try to buy something that we never bought before, and we don't know the size, our confidence level is very low. And we struggle to understand what size we need. And that's where MySize technology comes in place. What we've done is we create technology that uses the mobile phone sensors, just the sensors that are embedded inside every mobile phone that we all have. And just by moving it from one place to another, we know to measure the distance the phone is traveling. And we're building a profile of the consumer that is holding the phone. We've written 4 patents around this technology and the usage of a mobile device that includes measurement. And we're taking that technology and we work with retailers, with every retailer that us as a consumer working with. And we embed our technology and we license it to those retailers that when us as a consumers are logging into a retailer website, we can click on the widget. We can see what size we need based on the item that we're seeing at the moment and our profile that we just built with an app.
How big is the market for this technology?
Well, the market is huge. Is really, I can say endless, but is very big. It's very big. We can see the market growing by tens of percents every Cyber Monday and every Black Friday. And we can see more and more consumers are using the mobile device as the main platform for buying things online. So we can see now more people are buying things online through the mobile phone than through their desktop. So it's a huge market. And today we can see as well small retailers that started their shop on platforms like Shopify, like Lightspeed, like WooCommerce. Everyone can start his own shop. It's very easy to open your shop. The thing is that you are suffering from returns. You're suffering from a poor journey of your consumers, especially if you're selling online apparel, or even if you're selling curtains online. You still need to get these measurements in place before you're buying something.
At a current market cap of $6.5–7 million, what would you say is the essential value proposition for investors?
A value proposition is, I say, started MySize 4 years ago. And when I started it back in 2014, everything was a dream. And I thought there is a big pain in the industry, both for consumers and retailers alike, and having this mobile device measure a consumer body. So we just started selling in the beginning of 2019. So it took us a while to make this thing happen. Today, our value of the company is worth like an empty shell. It's really not the right value of a company like MySize that has money in the bank, has customers, start selling process, has several products, have several verified and given patents already to this technology. So I think we're just in the beginning of the road. This company is 100 times or 1,000 times more than what we are today. I'm a shareholder, I'm a stakeholder in this company. I've started it. I haven't sold one share in this company. I think that this company can be worth I see it as a game changer company, as a technology that is a game changer in this industry. And I think it's a $1 billion company. That's how I see it. And I think that's how an investor should see it as well.
Well, I agree. I think investors need to look at this as a software company. Your margins, once you commercialize, you've done all the R&D, is very high margins, correct?
That's right. The EBITDA here is very high. It's 70 to 80% for the smaller percentage, but it's a software company, and we license our technology, so we don't sell anything. So today we actually license the ability for retailers to give a tool for their customers, consumers to measure. But tomorrow is a data as well. We mine a lot of data from consumers, from retailers, from their habits, from a lot of data that goes through our systems. So this data will be tomorrow usage for those retailers, so they can use it and make their consumer journey even better, even happier. And we can see that more and more customers are buying online. If we can see their habits and their retailers, and that's where our technology goes, online and offline as well.
And what are some of the corporate milestones we could expect in 2020?
So one of the major ones is that we're finally going to announce the tier one customers that will start using our solution in their offline stores, and then they're going to take it on the online stores. This is the first one. The second one is we're going to announce a forecast that we haven't done before. Today, I'm more than confident in how this company is going, and we see customers that start using our technology and using it in a very effective way. And today we have a pipeline, and we can see what 2020 will look like. So we're going to issue a forecast as well.
It sounds like a big year for the company.
Absolutely.
Let's talk briefly about the management team.
I've started the company. I've done several startups before. So I have a lot of experience in building startup company, in building technology company, bringing them to the market and help them achieve the goals that they have. Billy, which our COO, that she came from a technology background. She's a software engineer with a second degree in business, and today she is fulfilling the COO role in the company. We have our class, which is the CFO. Each and every one of the management that take role, both of the CTO as well, that's running all the technology role here in the company and leading the company in technology aspect, all have huge experience, both in that comes from the military. As you know, many of us as an Israelis, we all join in some point of life. We are going through the military. Some of our management went through that. It helps us tackle a lot of problems that we see. For one example, we got the patent fairly quickly, I must say, compared to other patents that I've seen before, and brought us to almost 4 years product running after a roadmap, after customer surveys. And we have, after 4 years, a development of not an easy product to develop, something that some say 4 years ago, that's a dream. Something like this could not happen, Ronan, and that's one of the things I've heard along the years. And after 4 years, we're here with a product, with customers, and with a huge market and huge opportunities that we can see for 2020.
Ronan, it's a great story. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me again.
To get more information about My Size, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. Now let's recap the 3 public companies you saw today. First, you saw an interview with Piedmont Lithium, stock symbol PLL on the NASDAQ. Piedmont is developing the only conventional lithium project in the U.S. and is working to publish the definitive feasibility study by year-end. With access to excellent infrastructure and transportation options, close proximity to existing lithium chemical processing facilities, and within reach to 14 auto manufacturing facilities, Piedmont is well positioned for long-term success. Now, based on the latest studies, Piedmont's project is projected to have a 25-year initial mine life with an after-tax net present value of $1.5 billion. Learn more at pllinfo.com. Our second company featured today was Red Cat Holdings, stock symbol RCAT on the OTC. Red Cat announced the acquisition of Rotor Riot in early January, which places the company in a great position to grow revenue in 2020. With proprietary technology portfolio primarily targeting the commercial drone industry, which is expected to grow sevenfold to more than $14 billion by 2025, RedCat could become a dominant player in this new and exciting market. Learn more at rcatinfo.com. Now, the final company featured today was MySize, stock symbol MYSZ, on the NASDAQ and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. MySize has developed proprietary measuring technology that is a game changer for online retailers, helping to reduce product returns and exchanges. Its licensing model creates a recurring revenue stream that could grow exponentially as more and more retailers come on board. Again, if you have any questions about today's featured companies, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. I'm John Cunningham. Thanks for being with me today. And remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Many of the companies featured on the show are RedChip client companies, so please always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thank you for being with us today.